Fitzpatrick is with us now at the 2025 Ryder Cup. Matt, welcome to your fourth Ryder Cup. Let's go ahead and jump right into questions. Dylan, go ahead.
What part of this week do you look forward to the most, Matt?
I think just being with Team Europe, obviously, I've watched Ryder Cups growing up, watched Rory, watched Rosie, even the vice captains, Jose Maria, Francesco, and obviously to be in and amongst them on, having the same goal of trying to win the Ryder Cup this week is always a special experience. So yeah, it's always nice to be, part of the team.
Are there any teammates that you get more out of this week that kind of come out of their shell or something that wouldn't happen week in, week out?
I think everyone does, really. I think everyone kind of gets involved in the banter and I think that's the best thing about it. I think everyone comes out of the shell because, we're all trying to achieve the same thing. And I think the great thing is I feel like we have a lot of fun doing it as well. So that's what makes this week so great.
Luke?
Hey, Matt. Kind of a weird question, but how do you divorce like something that's statistically unlikely to happen, like making a 15-footer, right, with something you really want to happen, like wanting to make this 15-footer so you win the hole? Like, how do you both know what is probably going to happen and also just like get into like an irrational state almost and be like, oh,
yeah, I feel like this week though it's kind of the opposite of that. It's funny, we were watching golf earlier this year and I can't remember who it was, but they had a putt to win or playoff or whatever it was. And it came up on the graph like, 20% make percentage. And my wife said something really funny, and she was like, I really don't feel like that means anything anyway, because I just feel like it's either going in or it's not. And I was like, yeah, I guess when you put it like that, like that's a kind of a good point. I guess every putt's 50%, yeah. But I think on weeks like this, I feel like I've noticed that, putts going from everywhere, and putts are missed from everywhere. It really is that kind of week that, special things happen, both good and bad. And I think that's what makes this event so special as well, is that that obviously adds to the atmosphere, it adds to the whole experience and adds to the event. And that's why I feel like it is such a incredible event to be a part of. And when you're in the middle of playing at it, you're basically willing every shot to go close, every putt to go in. And, you're just hoping that that's going to add something to whatever it is that you're doing.
Up to Mike 10.
Hi, Matt. I saw a video on social media of you having a little chip around the greens during the practice round yesterday and being on the receiving end of a few heckles. Would you say you are a player with thick skin?
I'm from Sheffield, so that's probably a good start. But yeah, it was good fun. I think that for me, you've got to buy into it, and I was having a good laugh with those boys, and we were laughing about it. They were telling me, you're probably going to be here on Friday or whatever. I was like, yeah, you're probably right, to be fair. So yeah, we had a good laugh there, and they actually followed us for a couple more holes, and so I think, like you say, you got to take it on the chin, whatever it is. But again, like I keep saying, it's what makes this event so fun, so special is the fans. The fans are what make this event, and it's obviously a great opportunity for us to come and try and play our best golf in front of them.
Just as a follow-up, where it has crossed the line in the past is when wives have been targeted by the fans, and you're one of several European players who has an American wife. Have you said anything to Catherine about what to expect this week and how to handle it?
Yeah, of course there's always been conversations about, what could happen or what couldn't happen. And I think everyone's very well versed on what that is. But again, we've had that conversation between me and her, and she said that, it doesn't matter. I'll be out there, whatever. It really doesn't matter. I'm not going to be affected at all. So everyone knows how it is, and you know, like Keegan said in his speech, like Luke said in his speech, I have no doubt everyone's going to be as respectful as they possibly can. Yeah, like I say, I think that's what makes it fun. You know, that's what makes it different.
Up here, Mike 19.
Hi, Matt. Okay, just following up on that, really. I mean, I read a piece a couple of days ago where you mentioned your parents had decided not to come out here, I think on the back of their experiences at Whistling Straits. Can you just tell us about that, about their decision, and just elaborate on it? And did you kind of tell them not to come, or
No,
advise them
I left it completely up to them. I mean, there's two things on that. You know, there is obviously a little bit of that. They didn't have a great experience in Whistling Straits. That's not like a lie or anything, or making anything up. But the other thing is, both my parents are playing next week in the Dunhill, so they also didn't really want to ruin that experience as well, because that's obviously special to have that. So. Yeah, it's a combination. You know, it's a lot of travel. It's obviously a busy week. It's a tiring week, and then they obviously want to have a nice week next week as well with me and my brother. So, yeah, you know, no denying that they had a bad experience in the past, but you know, there's no reason why it has to be like that this time.
And just to follow up quickly, I mean, how does that make you feel that they're not here? Because I know they travel a lot with you, don't they?
Yeah, they've obviously been to a lot, but. You know, I'm fine with that. You know, they've been to 3 Ryder Cups already. You know, 2 away, 2 at home, 1 at home. Sorry, and you know, they've seen me in all sorts of events. So, you know, obviously I'll miss them this week for sure. But you know, I'm not. I know that they're doing what's best for them, and that's what's important. So.
Mike 12.
Matt, when you look back on it, just how did that challenge from Luke to kind of go play in both the British and the European Masters kind of maybe spark anything for you, and just how validating was it to perform in both of those well?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that thing, I kind of signed up for the British Masters earlier in the year, and the European Masters as well. I love playing in Switzerland. You know, I've had a good record around there, and I enjoy the week as an experience as well. So it's not just, you know, the extra stuff with it as to why I played. British Masters, I spoke to Luke the week before and kind of, you know, put him in the loop of where my head was at. Obviously, I played a lot in the summer to try and, you know, cement that top 50 place as well as get some Ryder Cup points. You know, we discussed that it was probably a good thing for me to come to the British Masters and play, and you know, that's what I did. Obviously, like you say, it was great to have a good result there, and me and my team's goal for those 2 weeks would just conserve energy really, and just be smart and not to burn ourselves out in, you know, obviously in the event that we do make this team. And obviously I feel like we did a really good job of that. It was a very it was 2 really nice weeks, 2 pretty easy weeks from a practice sense. And like you say, to go and perform as well is obviously always a nice added bonus. Based on kind of how the last few Ryder Cups have gone for you, did you ever worry about getting a chance to be on this stage and kind of getting selected? I think it always goes through your mind. Of course it does, you know. But I really kind of believed in myself, believed in the form that I'd shown from May. I wasn't necessarily thinking I was guaranteed a spot, but I felt like I thoroughly deserved to be in the conversation, given how well I'd played to the point of selection. So, yeah, it always crosses your mind. You know, Luke has every right to go in whichever direction he wants with a captain's pick, and it's always easier when you qualify outright. But I really felt like I'd made a really good, strong case for myself to be on the team.
Over here with Bob. You good? Mark?
Yeah, Matt, I just have 2 quick. One is regarding Rory. Other than the obvious, how good he is on the golf course, can you put into words what he means to this team, kind of in the back room as a leader, etc.? What does he bring to it? Yeah, he's obviously a great person to have in and around the team. You know, you've seen in the media over the last however many years how much the Ryder Cup means to him, particularly after what he first said about the Ryder Cup. But you can see it every day in you know, the practice we have, the discussions we have, his attitude towards the week, and how important it is to him that he wants to succeed, and that obviously gets everyone else going around him, and we want to be part of that. So yeah, he's very great in that aspect. Just unrelated to that, when you look at your record
here, Ryder Cup record. How bothersome is that to you, and how representative is it of how you really have played during those cups?
Yeah, I don't, I've said already before this week about my record, and 2016, I would openly admit I wasn't ready for that one. I was 21 or whatever I was, and I'd not really played any real golf in the States on the PGA Tour yet, so I feel like I kind of throw that one out the window a little bit. Then, of 21, I actually felt like I played really well, I felt like I deserved more than what I got out of that one. And then Rome was probably the same thing. Obviously got my first full point with Rory. We obviously played well on the Saturday afternoon as well. And, obviously Max played well as well on the Sunday singles. So, yeah, it's obviously frustrating. But, all I can do is keep qualifying for the teams and keep giving myself the opportunity to improve on the record. I think that's the biggest thing for me, is to keep putting myself in the position to make the teams. That's all I can do.
Do one more quick one with Sean right here.
Matt, a lot of very elite golfers kind of mention that they don't feel that they belong until they play in a team event at the Ryder Cup. What does it say about pro golfers that they don't feel that sense of validation until something like this happens to them?
I think the fact is that this event is obviously just a very different animal. It's a very different experience to what we have week in, week out as individual players, and to be part of something that's obviously bigger than yourself is, I think it's always quite eye-opening as to what it means to the other players around you. Your peers that you play with, you play against week in, week out. To be part of that and to, hopefully have success in it or even have failure in it and come together as a team still, I think that's what makes it such a special week. Specifically in 2021, we had a bad result, and there was no pointing fingers, there was no blaming. There was, everyone comes together. It's like, no, we'll get up and we'll go again in 23 in Rome, and and that's what we did. So I think being able to play together as a team and experience that is what makes what makes it so special, and why people probably feel that way.
Thanks for your time, Matt. We appreciate it.
Thank you.